Chapter 13. To feel the deeds of all mankind. Wait, Anastasia, I cried out, after a thought hit me like an electric shock. You say they all perished, and that that's the way it's been for millennia, and that all the attempts were unsuccessful and all mankind is going its own way? Yes, all the attempts made by my foremothers and forefathers were unsuccessful. That means they all perished? All the ones perished that went out among the people and tried to talk to them. So that means just one thing. You will perish too, just like all the rest. You too have started speaking out, and to hope for anything here is just silly. If nobody's ever succeeded in changing the world or society's way of life, then what makes you think you... Why talk prematurely about death, Vladimir? You see, I am still living, and here you are along with me, and our son is growing up. But what makes you so confident? What makes you believe that you'll win out, where all your forebears failed? All you do is talk, just like they did. I just talk? Is that what you think? At some point, you should pay closer attention to the sentences I use. There's a lot of technocratic noises out in the country today, as you can hear. My apologies. Not much I can do about that. Okay. At some point, you should pay closer attention to the sentences I use. They are not for the intellect. They contain no information which has not been set forth before, but people read them, and many experience an emotional stirring within. This is all on account of the way they are constructed so that people can grasp a great deal between the lines. The poetry of their own soul fills in the gaps, whatever is not explicit in the actual text. And now it is not me that is telling them about the divine truth. The readers are discovering it for themselves. Their numbers are multiplying at an ever-increasing rate, and now there is no diverting them from the path of the dream which belongs only to God. My mission is not yet accomplished, but already the Creator's desire has come true in many hearts, and that is what is most important. When the heart aspires to something in a dream, invariably, believe me, it must all come true in life. Then tell me, why wasn't everything set forth in such sentences before this? I do not know. Perhaps the Creator has shown forth with some kind of new energy, an energy that tells us anew about something we see around us every day, something we see but do not pay sufficient heed to or reflect upon. And my feelings do not deceive me. I have a clear feeling that He is accelerating all His diverse energies once more. A new dawn is coming for all the earth. His earthly daughters and sons will experience life as it was created by the energy of the divine dream, and both you and I will play our part. But most important are those who have become the first ones to feel those thoughts between the lines, the thoughts that the energy of the Creator has implanted in people, like music of the soul. It has all happened. It has all come to pass. People are already aspiring to create a new world in their thoughts. You're talking in very generous terms, Anastasia. Tell me specifically, what should people do? What kind of world should they build, and how, so that everyone in this world can live happily ever after? I cannot tell you more specifically at the moment, Vladimir. Treatises of all kinds are not hard to find in the life of mankind. Many of them have been such that people have fallen down and worshipped them, but none of them makes any sense. Treatises have no power to change the world, and just one point will serve as a confirmation of that. What point? I don't understand. That point in the universe designated as a universal limit, the point where all mankind is standing at the moment, and everything depends on the direction in which it takes its next step. The next step. All this shows that there is absolutely no sense in tracts. Ever since the beginning of creation, the whole of mankind is detracted by feeling alone. Hold on a moment, hold on. What about me? Do you mean to say that I have not done everything in my life by virtue of my mind? Vladimir, you, like everyone else, have changed with that mind of yours the interrelationship of material things around you. You have been trying through material means to experience sensations which every man knows intuitively, sensations which everyone is seeking but cannot find. What kind of sensations? Sensations everyone is seeking? What are you getting at? At what people felt back then, in their pristine origins, when they were still living in paradise. So are you saying that I've worked to achieve so many things through the power of my mind just so I could discern these feelings of paradise? But think for yourself, Vladimir, why you did all the things you did. What do you mean, why? Just like everybody else, I've been making a living for myself and my family in order to feel that I'm no worse than anyone else. In order to feel, you said. Yes, that's what I said. Now try to get this through your mind. In order to feel the deeds of all mankind. What do you mean, all? Even the deeds of drug addicts? Are they too part of such a search for such sensations? Of course. Just like everyone else, they are aspiring to find these sensations. Only they are going about it their own way, subjecting their bodies to torture, taking poison in the belief that it can help them, just for a moment, experience even an approximation of a great sensation. And the drunkard, oblivious to everything, winces and drinks his bitter poison only because the search for a beautiful sensation lives in him too. And the scientist harnesses his mind and comes up with some fanciful invention, thinking that this will help him find satisfaction along with everyone else, but to no avail. Over the whole course of its history, Vladimir, human thought has gone and invented a tremendous number of senseless things. Just think of the multitude of objects surrounding you right where you live, and each of those objects is considered to be the achievement of scientific thought. Think of the labors of the multitude of people behind its production. Only please tell me, Vladimir, which of these objects has made you happy and satisfied with life? Which? Well, maybe not a single one, if you look at them individually. But taken all together, these objects do a lot toward making life easier. The motor car, for example. You get behind the wheel, you can go anywhere you like. It can be cold and raining on the street, but in the car, you can turn on the heat. It can be hot and sweaty outside, but inside, all you have to do is turn on the air conditioner and you have a nice, cool ride. And in your home, in the kitchen, for example, there's lots of appliances to help women. There are even dishwashing machines to spare the housewife that particular care, and vacuums to clean the rooms through and through and save a lot of time. Everyone knows that there's more objects out there like these that can make our lives a lot easier. Alas, Vladimir, ease-makers such as these are quite illusory. Man is obligated to pay for them, day after day, through sufferings and a shortened lifespan. In order to afford these soulless objects, people are obliged to spend their whole life slaving over joyless tasks. The more these soulless objects appear around us, the more clearly they show the degree of man's misunderstanding of what constitutes the universal essence of being. You are a man. Take a careful look around you. In order to produce yet another mechanical object, whole factories are built, spewing out deadly pollution, killing the water, and then you, a man, are obliged to spend your whole life in joyless work for their sake. They do not serve you, but you, them. inventing, repairing, and bowing down to the things you make. In the meantime, Vladimir, tell me, who among your great scientific minds invented this particular mechanism for serving man? And at what factory was it produced? Which one? The little squirrel with the nut, the one just below my hand. I looked at Anastasia's hand. She was holding it outstretched, palm face down, about a half meter above the ground, and on the grass just below her hand, a little red squirrel was standing on its hind paws. In its front paws, the squirrel was holding a cedar cone. Its head was first tilted down toward the cone, and then perked up high, with its sparkling round eyes fixed on Anastasia's face. Anastasia smiled, looking down at the creature. Without a stir, she held her hand balanced in the same position as before. And all at once the squirrel put the cone down on the ground, started working on it in some way, using the claws on its front paws to take off the scales and pull a tiny nut out of it. And once more the little creature stood up on its hind paws, raised its head, and seemed to be holding the nut out for Anastasia, as though asking her to receive it from its paws. But Anastasia continued to sit on the grass as before, without a stir. Then the squirrel lowered its head and quickly bit into the nutshell and, after peeling off the shell, placed the kernel of the nut on a broad leaf. Then it began pulling more and more nuts out of the cedar cone, each time biting into the shell and laying a kernel on the leaf. Anastasia then put her hand down on the grass, palm upturned, whereupon the squirrel hastily transferred all the shelled kernels from the leaf onto her hand. With her other hand, Anastasia gently stroked the furry little creature, which had become stock still. Then it came even closer to Anastasia and stood, apparently trembling with joy before her, and looked her in the eye. "Thank you," Anastasia said aloud to the squirrel. "Today, my beauty, you are better than ever before. Go on, go about your business, my busy little one. Find your chosen one, my beauty, the one who is worthy." And she motioned with her hand toward a nearby cedar tree with its huge spreading boughs, whereupon the squirrel began skipping about, twice executing a circle around Anastasia before bounding off in the direction indicated by her arm. With a flying leap onto its trunk, she finally disappeared into the cedar's leafy branches. In the meantime, on Anastasia's hand, now stretched out toward me, lay the neatly shelled cedar nut kernels. Well, now, that's quite a mechanism, I thought to myself. It collects the product, delivers it, even separates from the shell. This little creature doesn't require any maintenance or repair and doesn't consume any electrical energy. After trying the nuts, I asked, "What about the great military leaders? Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, the ones who started wars, Hitler too. Don't tell me they were searching for a feeling of their pristine origins." Of course they were. They wanted to feel that they were rulers of the whole earth. Subconsciously, they felt that this kind of sensation was related to the one everybody is intuitively searching for. But they were mistaken. Mistaken, you say? What makes you think that? After all, nobody has yet been able to take control of the whole world. But they took control of cities and whole countries. They would fight and win battles over cities, but the satisfaction they derived from their victory was fleeting indeed. And they kept on warring, aspiring to even greater conquests. Their invasion of a country, almost invariably more than one, would bring them no relief, but only more grief, and the fear of losing everything. And once again they tried seeking satisfaction through military deeds. Their minds were so immersed in vanity that they could no longer count on them to bring them to the dream of the great divine sensations. All the military leaders of the earth met with a sad end, and the whole history of the world, insofar as we know it today, bears this out. Unfortunately, however, the vanity, the ramblings, and the parade of mercenary dogmas do not allow people living today to discern where exactly the divine sensation awaits them along the way.